everybody. Good evening, and welcome to Let's Talk Marriage, your favorite marriage show. And as you can see today, I have a special guest. And this guest is really special to me. I've known her for so many years, and I believe she has something really important because it keeps coming up in our discussions. And so today we want to examine how marriage and career, like how marriage affects the wife's career, because a lot of times we discuss things and we talk about traditional roles and we talk about how sometimes women have to compromise. But this lady right here is a professor. She's an engineer, and she's the Vice-Chancellor of Kumasi Technical University. I would let her introduce herself more fully and give you all her accreditations because I don't want to miss any one of them. But I see her as a really accomplished wife. And so I think that we have a lot to learn from her tonight. So do join me, type your questions whenever possible. So we'll set the ball rolling. Engineer Professor Mrs. Abena Obiri-Yeboah, you're welcome to Let's Talk Marriage.
Thank you very much, Dr. Efua.
It's my singular honor to have you. So let's just dive in because I think there are a lot of issues to talk about. So we just want to dive in quickly and then see how it goes. Before we set the ball rolling, I want you to just tell us what are your qualifications and what is your job description right now? We don't want to miss any of it. So you tell us.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Good afternoon from where I am. Probably good morning and good evening to whoever would listen at whatever time and from wherever. Yes, it's a pleasure to be on this show. Finally on this show.
I know, right?
Yeah. So I have a Bachelor of Science degree in Civil Engineering. I have a Master of Science degree in Civil Engineering, Road and Transportation Engineering to be precise. And then I have a PhD in Civil Engineering, also Road and Transportation Engineering. I am now an Associate Professor in Civil Engineering and currently the Pro Vice-Chancellor of Kumasi Technical University. Pro Vice-Chancellor just means that I'm deputizing the Vice-Chancellor. That is, we work together, helping him to achieve his vision and set goals for the university. Wow. So when he's not around, I step in. So basically, that is who I am. I'm also a wife and a mother of 3, 2 girls and a boy. And I'm juggling quite a number of things, but we are managing it bit by bit.
Wow, that is so impressive. And thank you for explaining in detail. So let me ask you, I know it's not been an overnight thing. You started a long time ago. Let me see. It's more like, well, technically, the day you start kindergarten is the day you start your career because you can jump at 16 and go into the university to do the course of your choice, right? But if we want to streamline it, I believe it's been about 15, 20 years, 25 years, you would say, from getting a degree, from graduating high school to pursuing a course in civil engineering and to where you are right now. So from pursuing civil engineering to where you are right now, if we calculate, how long do you think it's been? Like 20 years?
It was in 1997 that I completed high school. So it's getting to 30 years now, right?
Wow. It's been a long journey. And I bring that up to ask, what made you want to commit to this? What made you want to get into a science field? And your kind of science come with maths. And growing up, a lot of us, myself included, we didn't really like the math. We were okay with biology, but what made you go into that field? Because many people would think that, well, more males are dominating in that field. So they may want to shy away from that. What made you do it?
Okay, so let me make a little correction. I never liked biology, so I always loved math because I felt it was the easiest subject you could get.
Oh my God.
And the reason is that 1 plus 1 will be 2. I mean, it
Every
will
time.
always be 2. Yeah,
Hmm.
but the other sciences, sometimes, things change. But
True.
as far as I remember, math has been math. It's just the basic addition and subtraction, and then you are good to go. With
Mm,
math, you don't have to memorize. In fact, that's one of the subjects you go into the exam room and the formulas are provided for you. You just need to know which formula to apply. So I found math really, really easy. And it didn't start from kindergarten because I
mhm,
remember that I wasn't doing too well in math until somewhere in JHS when I had a different math teacher who exposed, math to me in a very, very different light. And everywhere I've got the opportunity, I've mentioned his name,
mm,
Mr. Arno. He was teaching at
mhm,
State Experimental School then in
mm,
Kumasi. And I
mm,
always mention his name that he had such an impact on me because I never really, growing up, said that I was going to be an engineer. If
wow.
I tell you the story, I'm sure your listeners are going to laugh at me because my siblings are all science based,
I
and
know.
I had only one of them doing engineering, and I
Yeah.
felt he was going to be left alone. So why
Mm.
not join him and help him? Because the
You,
rest
you
were
wanted
all
to
doing.
be a partner for him. You do you want to
Yeah,
leave him
so
lonely?
and interestingly, he's Kwabena and I'm Abena. So as you can see, the vibe was there. So I
Oh my.
just decided to help him, and he did civil engineering. At the time, I didn't have any knowledge of what the other engineering disciplines looked like. So
Oh,
I just
oh.
said, well, if he's done civil, why not also do civil? And that's how come I ended up in civil engineering. And I have not regretted it since.
Mm,
It's been one interesting challenge after the other.
mm,
And I remember once one of my brothers was suggesting that when he marries, his wife is going to be a housewife. And I
mm,
was wondering in my head, how is that possible, to be a housewife? Because I don't see myself like that at all. I'll easily feel bored.
mhm.
But maybe if I talk to a housewife, I'll know what they do to keep up,
You should come
Yeah,
and talk to
so
me sometime.
I will. I will.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
so that's about it.
you make some really beautiful points. First of all, I like the fact that you didn't always like math, but a teacher who was passionate about math helped you to find that interest. And it also fascinates me that by having a mentor, so to speak, in your big brother, it helped you to have an interest in what he was doing. And then another thing that stood out to me was the fact that you felt that you as a girl you never liked biology, so it wasn't like you chose math because somebody asked you to. You just didn't like biology and math was what you liked. So also following your passion was an important part in this whole process, and that is really profound. Wow, thank you for sharing. Well, I
Let me
would.
add something small.
Sure.
It's not just that I followed my passion fully, but I
Mhm.
also had the support of my parents
Mm,
because I remember I overheard my father
mm,
um, sometime later when I was in
mhm,
secondary school. I overheard him talking to one of his friends, and
mhm.
he was like, I never knew Abna was going to survive in the math class.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but I had a father who would not impose his decisions on anybody. I had a father who would, support you in whatever you wanted to do. So if he had felt that I wasn't going to do well in math and had forced me to go into biology, I may not have been where I am today. So I just want to make that clear that it's not always um, our passions alone, but the support of our parents and the people around us is also very important and critical.
Wow, I'm happy you mentioned that, and I hope parents you're taking note, husbands, wives you're taking notes, so that you encourage your children to go for what they need. Of course, you'd have to guide them because today's generation, the sort of things they want to do is just to be a YouTuber. And that one is not going to survive for long. The day YouTube dies, all their careers are going to die. But at least the family supported her because they were able to establish that this was a good path. You know, in Akan, we say, when you pursue something good, that's when you are given encouragement. If it's not something good, nobody will encourage you. In fact, we will all discourage you. Okay, Prof. So I know it hasn't been smooth sailing. Everything didn't go perfectly. What are some of the challenges you faced in your career so far?
Thank you, Ifwa. You know that typically, engineering is seen to be a male dominated area.
True.
So I've had instances where I've gone into a meeting and I've been referred to as the secretary.
Oh boy.
And yeah, but there's one thing, and this thing just dawned on me just this week.
Mm.
I was having a discussion with a friend,
Mm-hmm.
and um, that friend said, how do you manage to combine all that and do all that? If it was someone else, that person would have been complaining. And I just said, what do I do? I mean, I need to combine all the things I have to combine. I mean, I can't leave anything undone. And
Mm.
so after my conversation with him, I realized that indeed I could actually lay back and start complaining about my life. Because if I want to complain, there are many things I can't complain about.
Mm-hmm.
That if I don't complain,
Mm-hmm.
I move on. And
Mm-hmm.
those things that I should have complained about will turn out to be my strengths.
Wow.
And so that's just how I think I have been doing it over the years, knowing that even if you put it on hold, you are going to have to come back to do it yourself one day later.
Sure. Sure.
Why not do it now and get it over?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just want to dig a little deeper. In your education, what are some of the hurdles that came at you? Was it difficult to qualify? And in doing your courses, was it like, did you have to rewrite courses? Was it actually very tough to study for like engineering? Because I know in college it was engineering you were doing, in masters, in the PhD, everything else. It was engineering. You had to do all that kind of research and stuff. Was it harder? Did you have a lot of colleagues that you could study with? I mean, were there a lot of girls with you?
All right. Thank you for this question. I don't know where to start answering the question from, but then in the 90s, we had to do three subjects to enter into an engineering program, which
Okay.
was physics, chemistry, and math.
Mm-hmm.
Currently, it has changed. They need to add biology.
Okay.
Yeah. So my time, I did physics, chemistry, and math, and I was
Mm-hmm.
able to get into the civil engineering program. Um, it was tight though.
Mm-hmm.
And I think our time, we also had to write an university entrance exam,
Okay.
which God helped me again to pass. Sometimes you look back and you wonder what you had learned then. that you were
Uh-huh.
able to pass. But we cannot discount grace in our
Uh-huh.
lives.
Amen.
When I went to the university, also, this is a little personal, but I think that it helps other people, so I will still share it. I
Uh-huh.
entered the university in 1999,
Uh-huh.
and in 1998, my mom fell seriously ill.
Mm.
She had to be hospitalized for months, and I had to
Mm-hmm.
be by her side all the time.
Yeah.
And that was a time that I was preparing for my university entrance exam. So
Mm.
when I say grace, you should understand that I don't think personally I had, devoted so much time to learning anything that I
Mm.
should have passed to get into the program. But
Mm.
God already had his divine plans for me, I believe. And
Yeah.
so I ended up there. So when I went into year one, my
Mm-hmm.
mother was still very sick, even though she had been discharged and was at home. I
Mm-hmm.
had to still be going home every other weekend because
Okay.
I remember then I was rotating with my big sister who was in the medical school then. So
Mm-hmm.
she would go this weekend. The following weekend, I would have to go. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I had to leave campus on a Thursday
Mm.
or on a Friday and return on Sunday because I had to help them go to church, cook their food, and keep in the freezer before I come back to school. So you can imagine the kind of pressure I had on myself. And
Mm.
I still, managed. I remember um, I had one trail once, and I think it was in the first year, first semester or second semester. I can't quite remember. And one of the lecturers who happened to be a family friend had called home without
Mm.
my knowledge and informed my parents that I had trailed one of the
Oh my
courses.
God.
And I went home, and my mom had passed the comments, which was like, none of my children has ever brought home something like this. Well, I mean, where are you getting the trail from?
Oh
So
my
you can
God.
imagine the kind of pressure. But it was good.
So
It
like you're the
was
first
good
person to bring
because
home a trail, man.
yeah. So and it was good because
Sorry to laugh,
I
but that's just so
I
ironic.
understood I understood then that my learning methods at the time was
Hmm.
not the best for me. I've
Okay.
always been a private person. You know me a
Mhm.
lot, and you know that I've always been quite private. And I think that private life transcends to almost all areas of my life, including the way I learn.
Mhm.
But when I went to the university, I was told that you do not survive in the university without being in a study group.
Thank you.
And so I had joined a study group, and
Mm.
it was not helping me. So it was
Mm.
that trail that brought me back to my senses. And
Mhm.
then I went back, I stopped all group activities, learned by myself, and I never had a trail again.
Mm.
So when things happen, we are able to learn from them and help
Mhm.
us to make better decisions
Mm.
going forward.
So to be
Then
clear,
I
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so that was like I tried to summarize my bachelor, and
Mhm.
then I went ahead to do my national service, and
Mhm.
then I did my master's also in engineering. You asked if I had mentors. you know,
Mhm.
in the first degree, there were, I think, 83 or so of us, only about 11 were females.
Mm.
In the master's program, there were 10 of us, only two of us were females. So, the percentages. At the
Yeah.
PhD level, I was in no class. So I was on my own.
Mm.
PhD is more research based.
Yeah.
But I had found myself in an educational institution
Mm.
as a teacher, and so
Mhm.
I needed to gain additional knowledge that would help me deliver better to my
Mhm.
students. And
Mm.
so that is how come I did. You asked why I continue to do engineering for all my degrees, and so yes,
Yeah.
that is why. But it doesn't also negate the fact that I enjoy doing engineering. I enjoy doing transportation engineering and transportation engineering research. So
Mm-hmm.
if you go into my publications, you see that majority of them are in transportation engineering research. And over the last few years, I've also been doing a lot in quality assurance
Mm-hmm.
in higher education management. And I think it's also another area. And the critical thinking mind that I have
Mm-hmm.
developed over the years as an engineer has
Mm-hmm.
really helped me in the quality assurance and higher education management area as well. Yes, I have had mentors.
Mm-hmm.
Not mentors, like my peers, but I've had quite a number of
Mm-hmm.
other female engineers, male engineers. I've not had
Mm-hmm.
only my peers as friends, colleagues, and mentors. I've had older older people also creating certain opportunities for me and leading me to where I am today.
Wow, that's a very interesting story, and we're grateful for where God has brought you, and we cannot ignore the fact that you do acknowledge that it's God who brought you this far. Here on Let's Talk Marriage, we're Christians, so we believe that and we support that. And also, one part of the story that you mentioned was that when your mother had health challenges, you and your sister had to go home to support. What about your brothers? I know you have three brothers, so let me just put it out there. How come
Okay.
your brothers were not part of the rotation?
Okay. So, my eldest brother does not even live in the country. So he was out. He couldn't have been rotating with us. Yeah. And at the time, um, I think my other brother, the doctor, was also doing his clinical work. And
Okay.
so I think it was a bit more stressful for him. So he was coming, but he was not, on a routine. And
Okay.
then my other brother, I
Mm-hmm.
think at the time, I'm not too sure if he was even in the country because I think at the time he was spending
Yeah.
a lot of time also out, I think doing his PhD or something. I can't quite remember. But
Oh.
they all, contribute their quota.
Mm.
It's not like they don't, but I felt, and
Mm-hmm.
I still do feel that at the time I was in the best position to
What you
support. Yeah.
Yeah, I asked that because you and I know where we're coming from, and the fact that most of the time, when there are certain roles to be played, everybody looks at the women. They feel like this is not a man's job. But, like you rightly explained, that was not the rationale behind it at all. It was just that the two of you were the best to help in the position that you were. And it wasn't about you being girls or they being boys. It was just who is best to help at this particular time. So thank you for clarifying that. And moving on, this is our favorite
It's
part.
not. I just wanted to add something small. It's not
Mm,
just that we're in the best position to help alone.
mhm,
Personally,
mhm,
I've always felt that. I mean, if my parents had given birth to only me,
mhm,
the full responsibility would have been mine.
mm. Okay.
So that's an angle that I use. So
Mhm,
I feel that yes, if my parents need my help, I should be there. I'm not counting on my siblings to do that. If they
mm,
can do that, yay, fair enough, good, great.
mm.
But
Yeah.
I feel that, I mean, if my parents had given birth to me, just me, I
Mhm,
wouldn't have had help anyway. So I'm not expecting any kind of help from anybody. So when I do that, I do it because my heart tells me that I should be there for my parents, and I try to do that.
Wow. You are a really good daughter. God bless you for that. Yes. So moving on. This is our favorite part. How has your marriage affected your career? Or how has your career affected your marriage? Whichever way. How does marriage come into all of
Okay.
this? Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I think the best thing that has affected my career positively is my marriage.
Wow.
Um, there's no other way to put it. I don't want to brag, but I think that uh, the love that God has for me is, something else.
Wow.
And even how He brought my husband into my life is another story for another day. But the kind of support I have received from my husband, I can, it's enormous. I remember, I'm going to tell you a story.
Mm-hmm.
As an engineer, you cannot add ing to your name without going through the professional examination for Ghana Institution of Engineering.
Oh, that's news to me.
So when I finished school in 2003, I went ahead to do my master's, finished in 2006,
Mm-hmm.
and I was still Abena, and there was no
Yeah.
engineer attached to my name. I got
Mm-hmm.
married in 2006. 2007, 2008, I moved to Kumasi Technical University, the then Polytechnic.
Mm-hmm.
2009, all these 3 years, I will tell you the kind of pressure my husband put on me to add ing to my name.
Oh my God.
Eventually, I succumbed. And when I succumbed, you would not believe the kind of trouble he had to go through. He practically had to learn for me
Oh
because
my
he
God.
would go and get the material and bring it. And I would practically be asking him to, learn and summarize for me. So sometimes I tell him that he's more of the
Seriously?
engineer than I am because the kind of engineering he has done in his life, you will not begin to imagine. And I sometimes sit back and I ask how many men will do this.
I
And
I
so, I mean, when I don't want to move, he tells me to, no, 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 no. You can't. You have to move. You have to move. In fact, the kind of push I received from him, I don't know if I could have received it anywhere else. And I'm eternally grateful to him for his support, for everything. I remember he told me once that, hey, you can't look at the children and say that you will not move on. The
mm,
children are going to grow. The
mm,
young shall grow. That is one of his favorite sayings. The
mm,
young shall grow. And when they grow, it will be you. What have you done for yourself? What have you
mm,
done? What have you done? How are you going to account for your life? Don't neglect your children, but don't neglect yourself. He keeps
mm,
telling me every day, every day.
mm, mm.
And even when I'm publishing a paper, he will read through, he will correct my mistakes, he will do everything for me. So, in fact, it has been a positive influence on my career. And I believe that my career has also influenced my marriage positively.
Mm,
If I say marriage, maybe let me say family. Because of
mhm,
where I find myself in academia, I'm able
mhm,
to give certain kind of advice to the
mhm,
children and
mm,
also to him as well. You
mhm,
know, um, we help each other
mm,
and do the things that we have to do.
mm. So now that you
So when
mention
you
your,
see him, thank him for me.
in fact, our husband, we thank you so much. I wish
Yeah.
you were here, but I know the story from the beginning. You've always been.
Hey, madam, madam.
We thank you. And we will speak later. We have to. Yes, we have to do a Thanksgiving service for
Thank
you.
you.
But now that you mentioned your husband, I want my listeners to understand. Is it that your husband is a house husband who is taking care of the children so you can have a career? or he also has his career going? Can you tell us a little bit more about your husband because you mentioned it?
Okay, all right. So, for the record, he's not a house husband.
Okay.
So, he is first a pharmacist
Mm-hmm.
and then a lawyer,
Mm,
and now he's a judge. So you can
mm,
imagine he's
mm-hmm.
combining a whole lot of things.
Oh,
So he's not a house husband, definitely not.
okay. So you are explaining to us that the two of you have two powerful careers, but you're still able to make it
We are
work.
managing it.
So we are interested. How are you able to make it work? Can you help us? So because if you're going to be able to do what you're doing or even able to attempt, we need to know the roadmap and the pitfalls so that we'll know where to adjust. Because I am sure that if we go at it normally, it won't work. Certain things have to change, certain things have to be adjusted for it to work. So, how does your family make it work? Two partners, husband and wife with powerful careers. Your husband is a judge, you're an engineer, you're a professor, you're lecturing, he's in the high court. How do you make it work? You have three children. Help us understand.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Efua. For the record, he's in the circuit court, not at the high court yet. We are praying for his promotion.
Mm,
Yes. And also for the record, we do this without a house help. We've been doing this for the past 18 years.
wow.
And so our first child is 10 and 17 this year.
Mm,
Um, what do we do? I don't
mm,
think we do anything special. We
okay.
just wake up every morning, ask God to grant us strength, and then we
Mm-hmm,
move. But
mm,
we've taken certain decisions. For
mm-hmm,
instance, my decision or our decision not to
mm-hmm,
have a house help is not because we don't feel tired doing cleaning and cooking,
mm,
but it is because we want to create extra time for family bonding.
mm,
You should have seen us today in the kitchen when we were cooking.
mm.
My little boy, who's only 8 years, was the one cleaning the onions. Um,
Wow.
and they washed their things. This from yesterday evening till this morning, we were sweeping and cleaning, mopping.
Mm-hmm.
When we wash, we hang it, we remove it, we do our ironing ourselves, we do everything ourselves. We don't even have someone come in once in a while to clean for us. We do it ourselves.
Mm,
Um, I already said that we do that so that we can maintain some family bond. That's one.
mhm,
And two, to let the children know that they can do it. If
mhm,
I am doing it, if we are doing it, then they
mm,
can do it.
mm,
You know, gone are the days when you had a lot of cousins in the village. Now we don't.
mhm.
That is now.
Yes, it is.
Imagine
That's
when my children grow up,
yeah,
there will be nobody there. So if you
yeah.
cannot take care of
Mhm,
yourself, who
mhm,
is going to do that for you? And I always
mm,
tell my children that, see, my mom and my dad are not here to cook for me. And
mhm,
so when you grow up, you're going to cook for yourself.
mm,
I don't sleep and expect my mom to come and wake me up. And so when you sleep and it's time to wake up, you need to wake up yourself. You
mm,
know, I don't expect my mom to bring me money for me to use to pay bills. I don't expect my
mm.
mom to bring me money for me to use to pay bills. I expect my mom to bring me money for me to use to
Looks
pay
like your
bills.
connection went off a little bit. I don't know if
Themselves, study hard themselves so
mhm,
that they will be able to take care of themselves and their families when they
mm,
grow up.
mhm,
I cook every morning for my children to take to school, just like
mm,
most mothers do.
mm,
In the Ghana system, you can subscribe to the school food, but I don't.
mm,
And people would ask me why. I mean, everybody's doing it and I don't
Mhm.
have time, so why don't I do it? But I feel
Mhm.
that I should know what my children are eating, and
Mhm.
so I prefer to do it myself.
Mhm.
And so when they come home and they didn't eat their food, I get to see that they didn't eat their food. But when they eat school food, I will not be able to check all those things. So yeah, so those are the things we do. We spend a lot of time together.
Mhm.
Um, the little time that we have with ourselves, we try to spend it together.
Mhm.
So occasions like birthdays, etc., we may go out,
Mhm.
we may stay at home and enjoy having a family time.
Mhm.
And I also don't put on the TV in my house when I'm in the house.
Mhm.
And yeah, and the other,
Is there a
the main
reason?
reason, yeah,
Mhm.
the main reason is also family bonding. You see, we are in an era where everybody is on TV, everybody is on tablets, everybody is on phone. No.
Mhm.
I mean, when do we get to ask you what happened in school? When do we get to ask you about your friends? When do we get to, bond? And we don't live eternally. We live for a
Mhm.
short while.
Mhm.
And especially
Mhm.
our children. You were there when Janwa was probably born, if I
Mhm.
remember or not. 17 years ago, I don't
Oh
remember.
yeah,
You
I
were
was the one
around.
as
But
well. Yeah.
look at her.
Yeah.
Yes, you were there
Yeah.
at the
I was.
hospital. I remember. Look at her now. This year, she's going to the university.
Yeah.
And for the past 3 years, I don't get to see her. She's always in the boarding school.
Wow.
So the little time you have to spend with your children, you know, I don't have a taxi taking my children to school. I take them
Mm.
myself and I pick them
Mm.
up myself. Why do
Wow.
I do that? Because I
Mhm.
still want to create that bond so that when they leave home, they still remember, if mommy was here, maybe she would have come to pick us up.
Mhm.
We create moments that they can miss us for.
Mm.
Yeah. And so because of that, I go to work extra early. Most
Mhm.
lecturers come to work 10, 9. I get to work at 7
Mhm.
so that I give off all I have to give off
Mhm.
and I try to leave early so that I can pick them up. And that is how my life has been.
Mm.
So, and I don't do a lot of outdoor stuff. I mean, if I have to, I will. But personally, I
You mean you
prefer
don't attend a lot of programs?
no.
Okay.
I don't, unless I really, really have to. Like I
Mhm.
said, I love to bond with the family.
Mhm.
Okay, and
Mhm.
so um, right now, for instance, my husband doesn't live in Kumasi with me. He lives in
Okay.
Accra. But
Okay.
every vacation, even before he moved to Accra, every
Mhm.
vacation the children will spend in Accra
Mhm.
because they have grandparents, they have aunties and uncles. So they go and bond, and I also get the time to rewind and then
Okay.
and get back. So
Mm.
that is what we do. Like I'm saying, it's nothing special, but everything that is geared towards creating enough memories
Mm.
and bonding moments with the
Mhm.
family.
Mm. So if I hear you clearly, when you say we cook, we mop, is your husband involved?
For the past 4 years, no, because he doesn't live here with us.
Okay.
But when he comes on his leave, he
Mhm.
will.
Okay.
Um, if he has to, I mean, even if he comes during the weekend and he has to, he will. Uh-huh. It's not
Okay.
like there's a job for me and a job for for him or a job for the children. We try to do things together. For instance, I do most of the ironing in the house, and
Wow.
it's I don't even know if it has become a norm, but I hate it when I see stuff in the basket that needs to be ironed. So whenever I'm passing by and I see it, I naturally have to stand there and finish them off before. But I don't think I would have described myself as somebody who loved ironing. I
I
don't
never
think
knew
I
that
still
about
do.
you. I think it's
No, that's
new,
what I'm
right?
saying. I never still think that, I love ironing, but I just have to do it. I mean, when I see it, I
Mm-hmm.
just feel like, no, this heap must go. And so,
Mm,
I just, so, and I was ironing his clothes, my clothes, the children's clothes. But
mm,
now they are not there anymore. So
mm,
I just iron for myself. And then, but you see,
mm,
we do bits and pieces of things to help make our lives easier. For
mhm.
instance, from day one in my marriage, I've had a washing machine,
I know.
of course.
Yeah,
I
I saw
mean,
that machine.
so I mean, the microwave is the things that, of course, this morning when we're cooking, my daughter was asking me why they haven't modernized the earthenware pots with a different material, and I was saying that no, 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 this is traditional. The
I know, right?
modern one is the blender that you see, but there are still things that we need to use the earthenware
Yeah.
pot
Yeah.
to do. Yeah, so
Mm,
the little things that, um, an 8-in-1 cooker, a grill, whatever, anything that will reduce your load, we
mm.
try to have it. Um, yeah,
Wow. So listening to you, the things that I picked were that you don't have traditional rules. It's not like this is for the husband, this is for the wife. You just plan your life, see what needs to be done, and everybody jumps in, and that you support each
yeah,
other. But
yeah.
then you,
But you see,
mhm,
when I was talking about non-traditional rules, I wasn't saying that I will be the one to change the car tire.
mhm, mhm, mhm.
You understand?
Yeah.
So I'll not be the one to change the car tire. But I was having a conversation with a friend of mine who was saying
Mhm,
that he just doesn't understand why her husband will not be the one to ensure that her vehicle is fueled and her vehicle, um, the insurance has been renewed, the roadworthiness. And I was amazed because those are the things I love doing best.
mm,
Because I'm the one who will remember. Oh. If I'm waiting
mhm.
for him to remember, he will forget and the police will catch him. So me, it's not my money that for instance, it may not be my money that is going to be used to do the,
Yeah,
fueling or
you do it
etc.
and charge extra, right?
But
Mm-hmm.
but I would remind him that, hey, our vehicle would have to be reinsured. Our vehicle, I because it comes naturally to me. And I always say that maybe because I did engineering, there are some things that come naturally to me. For
Mm,
instance, the house that we live in,
mm-hmm.
I have never, for the past 10 years or so that we lived here, I have never suggested to him that we paint the house.
Mm, mm,
But every time he's thinking of repainting.
mm,
There are some things that I don't care, I don't mind. But there are some things that he is really passionate about. But you
mm.
see, when he decides that the house has to be painted, it becomes my burden to choose the colors. And
Tell the details.
to choose the colors. And sometimes I'm like, just paint it any color that you want. Me, once I have somewhere to sleep, I'm fine. I don't care the color of the house, really. So, but I see that um, some women are quite particular about a lot of things.
Okay.
Honestly, I don't
Mm,
really care the color of the dress I wear. Seriously speaking, I don't
mm,
care. And you
mm,
know it. I don't care.
mhm.
I don't do makeup. I don't care. I
Do
mean,
you have makeup on right now?
oh no, it's just my lipstick. But
It's
I mean,
makeup.
that's what I'm saying. That
But you
people will
don't
spend
do like
people will
you
spend
don't spend too
minutes.
much time on makeup Yeah.
I spend like 2 seconds. I just lip
Pick,
and
that's
move.
it.
Uh-huh. Even when I have extra time,
Mm-hmm.
I don't find it fanciful. I
Mm-hmm.
don't find doing my nails fanciful. I don't find a lot of things fanciful. But there are some women who are quite passionate about those things. And I'm not saying that is wrong. No,
Thank
it's
you
just
for
that no,
yeah.
no, no, it's not wrong. It's
Yeah.
not wrong at all. It's just
Mm-hmm.
that I don't fancy it. But I do admire them. I mean, I'm not saying that. I wonder the time they use for all that. But I admire them. I mean, I see pretty and I say, wow. But I can't bring myself to doing that.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
So what you're saying is you chose a particular life and you had to do what you had to do to make it work. When everybody's coming to work at 10 a.m., you know that hey, I gotta go get my kids early. So you get there at 7 a.m. and do what you need to do so that by the
yeah,
time it's time to pick your kids, you're able to pick. And it's like you're not subscribing to any traditional rules. You see, basically, you're bringing it down to the fact that know the life you have and plan for it. And also the fact that both of you are supportive of each other. Your husband is supporting your career, you are supporting his career. And whatever needs to be done, you don't sit down and say, this is a man's job or this is the husband's job. He needs to get it done. Or he doesn't say, this is the wife's job. She needs to get it done. And one important part that I picked was that you're not able to live together right now because of where your jobs are located. But every time there's a vacation, you carry your kids, take them to their dad. It would be unthinkable that the kids are with their dad alone. He's taking care of their clothes, he's taking care of their food. You leave them with their dad. But guess what? You have a lot going on. So that is your time to rewind. And it has become necessary in this whole arrangement to make things work. So, my biggest takeaway is know the life you have, do what you got to do to make it work. And I think
yeah.
that pretty much sums it up, right?
Except to say that you rope everyone in, including the children.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Yeah.
my children, I mean, by 3 years, I don't take care of them in quote. They take care of
Mm-hmm.
themselves. They choose their own clothes, their shoes, they have their combinations themselves, they bath
Mm-hmm.
themselves, they do everything themselves. By 3 years, latest four, they are
Mm-hmm.
completely independent because, like you said, everybody is running a hectic schedule.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the morning, everybody's busy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the only one busy running around, and everybody's busy running around. So I think that you need to rope everybody in and help or get everybody sharing your vision.
Mm-hmm.
Our vision is to be able to make this work,
Yes.
and everybody must make their own contribution.
Mm. Beautiful. I don't know where the time went, but it looks like we almost at that 1 hour mark. So, Prof. Engineer Professor Abena Obiri-Yeboah, it's been a delight talking to you. But just before I sign off, probably there's something on your mind you wanted to share that I haven't asked you yet. So this is the opportunity for us to tell us what's on your mind, and especially if you have some advice for girls who want to go into STEM. This is a good time to share with us. So take it away.
All right, thank you very much. What will I tell people who want to come into engineering?
Especially girls.
For
Well,
years
people
now,
go to.
for years now, I've always said that be consistent.
Mhm,
Okay.
mhm,
And you summed it up by saying that know what you want. Go
mhm,
for it, but be consistent. Okay.
mhm, mhm,
Um, you can't be dilly-dallying, and it's not in STEM alone, it's not in engineering alone, it's in life. Okay.
mhm,
You can't want this today and tomorrow you change your mind. And even when you're looking for a job, for instance, and they are
mhm,
looking at your CV, every three
mhm,
months you change jobs. Everybody will be, you know, cautious of you. So you need consistency in your life. You need consistency in your life. Number two, or probably I should have said that as number one, you shouldn't downplay the effects of the heavenly.
Oh.
I spend a lot of time praying as well.
You've changed, my friend.
I do spend a lot of time praying.
Great.
Yeah, because as you grow, you realize that you need strength from above. The strength your husband gives, the strength your friends give, your children give, your brothers and sisters is not enough. You need divine strength. And this is not a time to be sharing testimonies, but I've had 1,001 of them. 1,001 of them. Even this year alone is uncountable what the Lord has done for me in my life. And so I'm telling everyone who cares to listen, do not downplay the effect of God on our lives. Just last Sunday in church, I learned something else. The pastor said that God does not forget. And it was so profound, He was talking about the things we say in anger, in joy, in sorrow, in pain, in confusion when we are praying. And he was saying that God does not forget. You remember when Hannah was praying, in her despair, she dedicated her son to God. I'm sure Hannah must have even forgotten about it. But God did not forget about the prayer of Hannah. And I know that God doesn't, because sometimes certain things happen, and you are wondering, when did I pray this prayer? And you realize that it was years back. Okay, so I just want to encourage everybody that God does not forget the things we tell him. Never. Whatever we have asked him, it doesn't matter the time or the feeling we had at the time we were talking to God. So we should be cautious when we are praying.
We
And
shouldn't.
know that whatever.
He says we shouldn't go promising God. We should just make our
Yes,
vows. We shouldn't just go
yes.
promising God all kinds of
No,
things.
but well, it's all in the big picture. If you were supposed to promise, you will promise, because you remember the man who was going to sacrifice the son. I've forgotten the
Yeah,
names, right?
that was. Is it Jeff?
No,
I
no, no.
forgot.
The one that God provided
He wanted to
a
win a
lamb.
war.
No, no, no. God provided a lamb for
Oh,
the
that was
sacrifice.
Abraham. Abraham.
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah, he
So
was
you
supposed to
see,
sacrifice Isaac.
So you see, whatever you say, God will remind you in due course. So
Wow, it has been absolutely refreshing talking to you, my dear sister and friend, engineer, professor. I am so excited because the nuggets that you shared here today, I know that anybody listening can learn a lot from it. Thank you for availing yourself to have this chat with us. And as we do here on Let's Talk Marriage, we always say that remember that it takes a good Christian to have a good Christian marriage. So until we meet again, God bless your marriage. Bye bye.
bye, and thanks for having me.